There's actually a bunch of different committees: revenue tax, labor, procurement, environment. Is that did I get them all, Senator?
Uh, BSP, Bureau of Statistics and Plans.
There you go, BSP. So, wow, how about that session yesterday discussing this resolution? What I really kind of thought was going to be like a no-brainer, slam dunk, kind of cut and dry thing ended up turning into some contentious debate on the floor, primarily between the Republicans, um, who were calling this resolution. I think it was Senator Joanne Brown who had used the phrase anti-military, right? But I'm going to go ahead and read some of the resolution here before we go on, Senator. This is resolution number 55-36, relative to reaffirming our human right to safe drinking and clean water in observance of World Water Day 2021, and recognizing the importance of protecting our northern Guam lands aquifer and precious water resource and ensuring the health of our people. So when I read those, or just the subject of that resolution, like I said, it kind of seemed like, duh. I mean, who's not going to support this, right? So where did we kind of go from that, Senator, to just some of the things that were said on the floor yesterday and some of the opposition to this resolution?
Yeah, I think a lot of the issue is, I guess the interpretation of it was that it goes beyond just recognizing the importance of water and really kind of questioning a project that will actually, according to the Department of Defense's words, has a potential to leach contaminants. And so I think that's, when we're talking about protecting the environment, as an oversight chair for the environment, I feel that, everything that impacts something so vital needs to be addressed. And I think a lot of the, I guess this debate was, what are we doing on our side, right? And, that's what, as the speaker was saying, this resolution addresses what we don't have control over, right? It's, we have all these processes in place to address environmental concerns when it comes to projects, civilian projects. And when it comes to military projects, it's really the military processes that are driving this. And that really was one of the intent of this resolution too, is to highlight where are the gaps in our regulatory process, so we can be, more, things are more transparent. We're able to prevent any contamination issues. Guam is very blessed. We, according to one, I guess, statistics, we can pump 80 million gallons a day. Of course, that's not sustainably, but it's been estimated 80 million gallons a day can come from our aquifer. And, just looking at the history, the geological history of our aquifer, it's a thing of beauty. And I considered it a natural wonder, how little tiny creatures deposited shells upon shells for millions of years to create this water-bearing rock, right, that we can draw water from and sustenance from. And I think the challenge too is anything that happens over our aquifer has a potential to contaminate, right? And I'm doing whatever I can, in whatever bills that I introduce to address what the issues are on the civilian side. And that's why with a resolution, we can't pass laws to affect federal processes. So that's why there was a resolution. And, it's really about our humanity. Our access to clean drinking water is a basis of all our human rights. Without that, we cannot, how can we recognize these other rights, right? So, for me, it's pretty clear, a project that is actually stated it's going to produce 6.7 million rounds of ammunition a year. That's 18,000 rounds a day containing lead and other things. And so I think it's within the right of all our people here on Guam to speak out that, we know the impacts from other places, Kohalave, Okinawa, Vieques. We know the impacts of long-term, military training. And, if there's a way that we can prevent this harm from happening, I think that's the best course of policy. And, we've been speaking this for many, many years in terms. And, there is, because it's a human right issue, this resolution basically would be transmitted to the UN special rapporteurs that oversee human rights when it comes to clean drinking water. And it's really just, having them have a site visit, seeing what's happening, and how can we protect something so vital. I mean, it's so easy to take for granted something that comes out of the tap readily. And until something happens, right, something happens to that, it might be too late, right? So we want to prevent any of this contamination. And lead was banned in the 1986 in the US. And so in 1999 here on Guam. So, I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. If we're allowing something that has been banned that could eventually leach into our water system. And it's also not just the water, but the fish, that we catch off the shores. It's not just us that are going to be affected. It's going to be the environment and what we depend upon. And I think I just want to make it clear that, our environment is the basis of our health, and it's also the basis of, our economy too. It is the true source of our wealth. And we need to work together to protect what we have, what we've inherited. I think this modern world has really disconnected us from these relationships that nurture us and sustain us. And it's really getting back to that idea, that connection. Because once you have that connection with your environment, you would more likely protect something, protect it.
Senator,
so, yes.
I mean, we've had other resolutions which are listed in your resolution. There was resolution number 164-305 relative to urging the supported Governor Lulian Guerrero to call for a pause to clearing, pre-construction, data recovery, and construction activities related to the U.S. Department of the Navy's proposed live fire range at Northwest Field, or Tailalu, adjacent to Letekzen, in order to ensure the protection of the environment and historic and cultural resources of the northern coastline of Guam. There was also Resolution 365-35 relative to urging the U.S. Navy to cease its use of active sonar and torpedo countermeasures and in-water explosives in identified habitats that take or harm marine mammals, and to use passive sonar to detect the presence of marine mammals and to provide all information as declared necessary by the government of Guam in order to determine the boundaries of the habitat areas of beaked whales and other, I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, so we've had these resolutions before, and they were like very well supported by the previous legislature. Where do you think this one kind of went off I mean, I don't say it went off the rails, but man, it turned into kind of this like social media ignorance debate about, oh, well, we can't talk about contamination that's happening inside the military fence line unless we're also talking about whatever is going on outside of it. Right. And you see that a lot. And it's, I guess, to the people who say those things, it's meant to like defuse the argument. I mean, it doesn't, obviously. But where do you think it kind of like just devolved into that discussion on the floor?
Yeah, I think that, I understand that my colleagues want to support environmental causes, but I think there perhaps is, an issue when it comes to military projects, right? People are less likely to speak out about it, even though the impacts are great. So I think that's maybe one of the, I guess, the issues is that it is a project that is DoD driven. And I think too, it's like, I understand that, people have, I feel that, yeah, there is a certain reliance on the military, right? Yeah. And a lot of our people have joined the military and they see it as, it becomes this picture of being anti-military. But it can't be reduced to that because all of us are going to be affected. So yeah, I think it's about, that sort of connection that many of our families have. And I just want to make it clear that it's not against these families and members of the military. Yeah. It's really about holding an institution accountable. You know,
I mean, the US government, they're the number one polluter in the world, the United States military. I just don't get how to whittle down this resolution into an argument that's really as naive as, oh, it's anti-military to talk about military pollution. It's insane to me. When did clean water become a partisan issue?
Right. And I think it's even more onerous because the U.S. government has a fiduciary responsibility as administering power of a non-self-governing territory to protect the natural and cultural resources until such time we exercise our rights to self-determination. And so that's what this is too. It's a pro-human rights cause. And, I just want to encourage everybody, question, I think one should question, one should not be afraid to assert our rights, even if it means the difficult discussions in our family. And I know there are many, my family was in the military as well. Yeah. And so, and oftentimes, they are, the military has supported families, but at the same time, it's, there are issues that are happening here that, are very visible. We're seeing the destruction of 7 football fields. I forget what the statistic was. Yeah. The complete erasure of a village, a Magwag village. So I think it's hard. It's hard to acknowledge these things, when our ties are so strong, right? So, but I think to help balance this, we need to reconnect with our land and our ancestral ties. Because we are a civilization that have existed over 3,000 years. And we need to reconnect with that. Unfortunately, a lot of that history still needs to be discovered. And that information is contained in our environment. And once we lose that, we have a greater loss, we lose the connection even more. And, I truly believe that there is healing power that comes from this. And I just want to encourage everybody to, just to question and assert their rights for safe, clean drinking water.
Senator, let me ask, so this resolution passes, obviously it would be something that we would, even if it doesn't pass, we would want to pass on over to the UN special rapporteurs who are coming to the island to assess what's going on with the buildup. What kind of statement does it send both ways? If the resolution passes, what does it say to these UN rapporteurs about the state and the attitude of the buildup here? And if it doesn't pass, what does it also say?
I think both ways. I think it's an opportunity to see what's happening, right? I think there are definitely processes in place that are there to silence us. And even if it means, standing up for our human rights. So either way, I think it has implications of maybe encouraging a visit. And this also complements the work of Attorney Julian Uggan, who was successful in getting a joint allegation letter sent out by 3 rapporteurs. And so this would just complement the work that he has done, as well as the work of all our community members that have been working so hard to raise awareness and build community around protecting our water, protecting our natural and cultural resources. And I think it's important too, as a community, to develop stronger regulatory frameworks, so we know what's happening when it happens, and more importantly, to prevent it from happening. We hear that information is given to us much later, when, for instance, when a burial is found, or we don't know something has happened until after the fact, and by then we have to deal with cleanup. So I think the more we can strengthen our agency locally, and this is one of the intent of this resolution, is to highlight that where are the gaps in our local government and how can we strengthen those. I mean, in one of the questions, so I did invite the regulatory agencies. BSP did come, and it was clear that the monitoring of these wells, the information is given to US EPA. And there's no opportunity to reevaluate federal consistency. So there's a lack of monitoring capability right now, and that needs to be addressed.
Senator, what did you make of the argument that was presented on the floor yesterday about the pollution and whatnot that goes on outside the fence line? The argument seemed to be that you can only care about one of the two, and I think it was Senator Frank Blas who said that. Oh well, what about what's happening on the outside of the fence line? I mean, because my personal, both are definitely very real issues to me, but I just don't like this idea that you can only focus on one or the other. So if we're gonna talk about military contamination, then we got to talk about what the Chamorros are doing.
So I introduced two bills regarding illegal dumping, and I hope to get the support of my colleagues on that. So there are other avenues to address these local issues. And, in drafting the resolution, I did think about that. It's like, why don't we throw everything in there, right? But it's going to lose that, I guess, the effect of what this resolution really, is about. Is about a particular, project. And yes, one thing at a time, right? So, and then also the scale of it. We're talking about a huge project. And I think we still need to reassert that right to, say no, that this is too harmful. And even the Department of Defense states it in their own documents, their own supplemental EIS. And so, I just think it's not fair. It's not fair that something so harmful can still be pushed through. And I think that the drafters of these national environmental protection laws, the drafters of the National Historic Preservation laws, probably never even conceived of this. It was never meant to allow such damage. The intent of these bills is to protect and to avoid harm. And so I think it's, without the ability to have a voice in the national scene, it's very hard to get through and have our perspectives represented with bills that we were not even a part of drafting and passing. So, it's really, one can see it as an overreach of the federal government implementing laws that we never gave consent. We never were a part of the drafting of these laws, and which really has a whole different realm when you apply it to Guam. It doesn't seem fair.
What about the remedy, Senator? So we had the Admiral on here, it was a few weeks ago, and I asked him about this special rapporteur and what impact it would have on the ongoing buildup. And he was basically like, none. They don't have the jurisdiction. They don't have the authority. So, I mean, I definitely feel the frustration. There are just so many roadblocks that we're coming up against in trying to just hold this whole process accountable. But what did you make of the Admiral's comments about those rapporteurs?
I wasn't aware, but if he says that he has no control, the resolution also sends, it will be sent to the president. So the president is the commander in chief, and he's has the ultimate decision making power when it comes to military projects. So I think that's one of the issues is the people that we're talking to here on Guam are following orders, right? And may or may not be necessarily be the decision makers.
Right.
And that's one of the things that this resolution does. It ensures that those that have the power to make decisions are apprised of this.
I saw a media report that that the governor is going to urge President Biden to respond to these letters that were sent by the rapporteurs.
That's what I heard too. I don't know what the status of that is. I think that's good that there's some movement happening with that. And this resolution, I hope to, reinforce that letter. So that's why we included it in this session.
What's it looking like though with the votes on this, Senator?
I think I'm hoping to get it supported. So I'm looking for the support of my co-sponsors and additional senators as well. So I welcome all my colleagues to really take a look at this and really join and unite around protecting something so vital.
There was something I heard that someone had said about the Republicans' comments on the floor yesterday, and it was something like, "My God, why are these Republicans so against clean water? What do they drink? Soda?" It just cracked me up. Because again, it seemed like something so simple that it was just going to go in like, "Yep, okay, we all love clean water. Thank the rubber stamp done."
No comment.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, I think I'm willing to reach out to my colleagues,
Yeah.
and I hope I get their support. And throughout, also other environmental issues too. So I'm going to be hard at work with protecting our environment. I look forward to their support in those areas.
What did you make of Senator Brown's comment that we played on the news where she was like, "Oh, well, why didn't we just do a separate resolution addressing all the stuff with the firing range and the buildup?"
I think that I think this is a well-written resolution, if I say so myself. Yeah. I think it covers a lot of ground and bases, and it's very holistic in its approach. It talks about how valuable our resources is, our water resources. How what are the challenges, particularly the lifeguard training range, the impact that we have. It covers ground about environmental justice, that the people that are experiencing the worst kinds of environmental problems are indigenous people, people of color, and environmental justice helps to correct that and rectify that. And also it highlights that we are consistent in ensuring and protecting our aquifer. It is a sole source aquifer, 80 to 90% of the drinking water of our people. So yeah, when it comes to water, it really is the source of life. And it touches upon everything from the development of our culture. And, I think I disagree that it should be a separate rewritten, because I think it's
very well. The issue is definitely intertwined, Senator. So what kind of, you said you're going to be approaching your colleagues. I'm assuming you mean some of the ones across the aisle. So what are you going to be bringing to them in terms of the discussion, or do you feel like some of them are too far gone down that side of the argument to even get through to?
Well, I always think there's an opportunity. So to have debate and discussion. So I heard their statements on the floor, so it would seem like it's pretty hard to come back from that, right? But I think we can work together moving forward. That's my hope. That's what we need to do, right? We need to be united as a people when it comes to protecting, our environment, protecting our people. It just makes the work harder if we're not united.
Exactly. Well, I wish you the best of luck, Senator, and keep us posted about any developments with this or anything else you're working on.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
Right
Have
on.
a great day.
You too. There you go. 925 Environment Chair Senator Sabina Perez on this resolution. It's up on the legislature's website. It's resolution number 55-36. And like I'd said, it's relative to reaffirming our human right to safe drinking and clean water in observance of World Water Day. And it kind of reads down, let's read some of it for you guys. Whereas the observance of World Water Day provides an opportunity to reaffirm our human right to clean and safe drinking water and to renew our responsibility to protect our precious water resource. And whereas water is of vital cultural importance to the Chamorro people who have developed a unique oceanic civilization, for over 3,000 years, and our relationship to water is sacred. Water is the source of life, of all life on Guam, whereas the limestone forest is an integral part of the cultural landscape of the Chamorro people. And it's on there. Go ahead and read it. And then it also goes into a lot of the kind of bullet points and many of these bullet points coming from Department of Defense documents themselves. When they kind of go in on that in the last few pages. Very, very interesting read. It kind of like Senator Sabina had said, she said it's a well-written resolution, if she does say so herself. And I do see a lot of pieces that were from kind of previous resolutions. So it definitely is a good read and very well researched, I would say. They've quoted a bunch of different articles here of the United Nations underrepresented peoples, Article 26, Section 3. So it's up there on the legislature's website. Okay, that's one resolution. There was another one here I saw. Where was it? This was a funny one. Okay, I can't find it. I'll get back to you on that. Hey, 927, guys. We're a little bit backed up. We're going to go. Oh, God. Yes, Senator? Okay, I think we lost her. We got Major Anton Ugga in Department.